Hey guys, Ready here with another Pokemon challenge. Trying to beat Pokemon Ruby with Sidney's exact team was a lot of fun and was a nice change of pace from the normal challenges you usually see on this channel. Well, I decided to go back to a normal Generation 2 challenge before we jump into some new stuff. Today we are going to see if we can beat all of Pokemon Silver with a single Swinub. I have always kind of had a soft spot for Swinub. It's a cute little guy, and I already do have some experience using them when I played these games when I was younger. They really come in clutch when you need an ice type on your team. That being said, with this guy being part ice and ground, we do have to be aware of our weaknesses. Now, don't get me wrong, ground does help with it giving us an immunity to electric attacks, but outside of that, all it does is help us resist poison attacks, which I really could take or leave. What really scares me here is we are weak to fighting, steel, fire, grass, and water. It's been a while since we've had such a lopsided weakness to resistance ratio in a challenge, and with our weaknesses outnumbering our resistances this badly, it is clear that this type combination is not a good pairing. What also isn't helping us here are our stats. Total base stats are below a first form starter, and I do appreciate that they try to keep everything close to even. I am surprised our speed is higher than our special stats, and I wish we could trade stats around to raise our special attack and defense. Of course, then again, we will also need a good physical defense because we will be dealing with a fighting and steel gym in this challenge as well. Really, when you get down to it, the stats are altogether not good, and we are pretty much going to need a very high level if we are going to be competitive in this challenge. Okay, type combo and stats are working against us. Please don't disappoint us, moveset. This looks pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. We have two physical moves, neither of them are ground, and only two attacking moves. One of them is really weak, and the other one is the really powerful Blizzard, but the accuracy makes it pretty unreliable. Can we at least have a solid TM list to help us out here? Okay, this is not great, but I can work with this. Icy Wind is lackluster, but it is better than Powder Snow. We have a good old-fashioned Headbutt, and at least Earthquake is on the table. I know this was going to be a challenge, hence why I picked it, but this looks like it's going to be harder than I thought. But I could be pleasantly surprised, so let's get started. But first, let's go over the rules real quick. I will only be using Swinub throughout the whole challenge, but I can still use other Pokemon for HMs to progress. No cheats, glitches, or hacks to advance, and I will be sticking with the trend where I won't be using any items in battle, only held items given to our team before the battle starts. Like I said earlier, I feel like we are going to need a massive level lead to prevent our stats and typing from ending this challenge, but I think we could still complete the challenge here. Let's see if I'm right. So we all know the song and dance by now. We start the challenge at our house, which we leave right away to go see Professor Elm, who gives us our Swinub to start the challenge. It was interesting setting this challenge up because it took some time to figure out which starter our rival should have since we are weak to grass, fire, and water. But in the end, I decided to give our rival Totodile since as we progress, we will have a super effective attack for grass and fire types, while we really don't have that advantage for water types. I nicknamed our new Swinub Nubs. Not my best nickname, but I wanted to get going on this challenge, so it will have to do. At least it is a little funny sounding. Starting out this challenge at level 5 like we always do, the only move we have at the moment is Tackle, and of course our stats are low, but they are kind of looking like the pattern we were just talking about. Starting this challenge is our typical level of boring. We don't hit hard, and Tackle is a basic attacking move. We have already wasted our berry on the first route of the challenge, which doesn't always happen in these challenges, but it does show how we are not having the strongest start for this challenge. To emphasize this rough start, we actually lose the first couple of attempts against our rival. I did grind Nubs up against wild Pokemon so we could be at level 6 for this battle, and that honestly did not make a difference. Not much to talk about here, it's just Tackle versus Scratch, and we need more levels. Well, one more level actually. Being at level 7 was enough for us to squeak out the win, but it was still close. But a win is a win, and this does open up the game more so we can make some real progress. Now we are weak to grass Pokemon, and I know they will have Vine Whip, but I still give Bellsprout Tower a try. We actually take Bellsprout's Vine Whip better than I was expecting, and we do get a lot of experience while we are here. The big takeaway here is we now have the move Powder Snow. Sure, it is a weak ice move, but even having an ice move this early in the game is great. This move helps us get the advantage against the Bellsprouts and the occasional Hoot we are facing due to them being part Flying type. Speaking of Flying type, Powder Snow also makes quick work of Falconer as well. Now, Falconer has rarely been a challenge in any of my other Generation 2 challenges, but I feel like it has been a while since we've had a type advantage in this battle. It also probably helps that we have a little bit of a level lead in this battle as well. But all in all, getting the first gym badge in this challenge was really easy. And our Powder Snow helps us in Union Cave when it comes to the hikers. Sure, we could have also learned Mud Slap like we do in almost all of these challenges, but why would we when we already got this super effective move to use against them? We get to Azalea Town quickly enough and take care of Team Rocket and Slowpoke well. We get a little beaten up here. This area was not as easy to sweep through as the last couple places we talked about, but we still came out on top. I guess we don't really have much left to do here except face Bugsy. I still think that ice moves should be effective against bug types, maybe because in real life winter kills most of the insects where I live, but in these games there is no type advantage. But Scyther is part flying, so it is extra susceptible to Powder Snow, and that is the biggest threat of Bugs' team. But first we need to focus on Metapod and Kakuna. They hardly do anything to us though. We could have gotten poison from Kakuna, but we actually freeze him first, so that threat was gone pretty quickly. Scyther is last out and of course faster than us. Weak Fury Cutter to start the exchange, but we know that attack can build power with each successful hit. I was hoping Powder Snow was going to hit a little bit harder than that, but I will take another freeze. Scyther does defrost a couple of turns later and starts Fury Cutter back up, but we are sticking with Powder Snow, which keeps us ahead when it comes to damage output. We come really close to knocking Scyther out in a couple turns, but it hangs on in the red. But he freezes again, and we get the easy win from there. Okay, besides the slightly rough start with our rival at the beginning, this challenge has been moving pretty smoothly. Well, we have to face our rival again to progress, so let's see how we stand now. Powder Snow is the only move we can use against Ghastly, and it is actually hitting harder than I was expecting. We also get real lucky dodging Hypnosis for multiple turns. Ghastly goes down easily enough, and now we have to go against Croconaw. And this is where we start running into a big problem. Its water gun easily takes us out in 2 turns. We fall quickly, and we get the same result in repeat battles. I was hoping for a freeze here, thinking that might be the way for us to get the win, but it never happens. Besides, I don't think we should rely on that heavily. So I guess we really do need to grind if we want to actually win here. After grinding against wild Pokemon till we get another 4 levels, things go much smoother in this battle. Powder Snow brings Ghastly into the yellow on the first hit. On top of that, we dodge our opponent's Hypnosis, so we bring Ghastly down, and that's a relief since that means we are not paralyzed as we go up against Croconaw. Now, I did just say that we were looking stronger after all this grinding, but now I feel like I was lying to you guys after seeing how little damage we did against Croconaw. But hey, we got a freeze. Now we just need our opponent to not fall. Obviously, Powder Snow isn't dealing the kind of damage that we need, so we switch to Tackle. Still a little lackluster, but it is hitting harder. The big takeaway is Croconaw is still frozen, so we get enough tackles to land to take care of our biggest opponent of this challenge so far. Which means we just need to take care of Zubat, which isn't tough. Powder Snow doesn't deal the one-shot, but it still does a lot of damage, and with his Supersonic missing, we wrap up this battle while taking 0 damage. Well, that was a much better outcome than what we've been seeing in those other attempts. Now, I know the freeze was extremely lucky and most likely gave us the win, but I like to think that the grinding really helped here as well. Now we can progress and go through Ilex Forest, which means, yes, I get the TM for Headbutt. I am mainly doing this because it is a stronger physical move, because the chance to cause a flinch will not be in our favor due to our underwhelming speed stat. Which stings since we could use a flinch or 2 when it comes to Whitney's Miltank in our next battle. And guys, it is really difficult to get the win in this battle. Clefairy isn't a problem, obviously. Of course, Miltank is the nuisance here, and Rollout is wrecking us and basically not missing. That and Attract were used in a couple of attempts, and that just makes the losses even more frustrating. But like I said, Clefairy is real easy to take care of. 2 headbutts easily do the trick. For Miltank, I do try my luck to see if we can get lucky with another freeze with Powder Snow. It doesn't happen, so we are back to being subjected to Rollout. I know we are slower and will most likely fall behind when it comes to damage output, so I switch over to having us spam headbutt. Of course, if a critical hit comes along, then I will never complain. But it's not going to amount to much since Whitney has built up a pretty impressive rollout streak, so this hit will most likely take us out. Wait, we survived? With 2 health? I wasn't even 100% confident that our headbutt would hit hard enough to take the Mule Tank out, but it was, and we have another badge. Yeah, there we had a little help in that battle with the critical hit, but we don't have time to focus on that now. We are now at Eckertique City, and yeah, obviously I don't think we are ready to take on Morty, but it also shouldn't come to surprise that a rival here at the Burn Tower is also spelling our end as well. Now, I did give this battle one attempt, quickly realized that we are not ready to win this fight, and decided that we should battle the trainers at Morty's gym for the extra experience. Battling them was real easy. Powder Snow is our only attacking move at this gym, and it is not strong enough to one-shot our opponent's Pokemon, but they are hardly doing anything to us for the most part, and are sporting bad special defenses, so we are coming out on top in these battles anyway. But back to our rival, since like I said, we are back to this guy being a problem. Actually, come to think of it, it's common for this guy to be tough to beat at this point of the game, but it has been a while since he has been a challenge in every rival battle we have had so far in a challenge. Normally I feel like his starter is not a threat per se in this battle, but in this case, as you can tell from the other battles we have had against him, Croconaw is a threat for sure. And this just further compounds the difficulty we need to overcome to get the win, because in my other challenges, Haunter and Magnemite are a dual threat in this battle thanks to Haunter cursing us, paralyzing us with Lick, and Magnemite steel typing, making it hard to take out fast. I quickly burned through attempts, but after a while I would just admit defeat and reset from my last save file if Haunter ever got a curse going or paralyzed us. Also, during this time I took a break from the constant losses and went ahead and battled the Kimono Girls, all the trainers en route to Olivine City, and in the Olivine City Lighthouse. Look, our rival is obviously challenged. I expect the same level of difficulty from Morty, and 2 out of the next 3 gym leaders are going to be a challenge as well. We might as well get a level lead started. We are going to need it. And it turns out all that extra grinding is exactly what the doctor ordered. Powder Snow still can't one-shot Haunter, but it does more damage, and with Haunter just using Spite on this turn, we take him out right after. No curse or paralysis is a strong start. Croconaw is still a concern, but we are faster and Headbutt does deal decent damage. The attack doesn't cause a flinch at all here, but it does give us the lead when it comes to damage output. But this wasn't a smooth win. We take a lot of damage in the process of bringing our rival's starter down, so things are still looking rough in this battle. Zubat almost gets one shot from Powder Snow, and we surprisingly stay in the yellow after taking a bite. Zubat goes down on the next turn, and Magnemite is our last concern. Headbutt gives more damage than I was expecting, but let's not kid ourselves. Magnemite is still in the green. We are, however, officially in the red thanks to Sonic Boom. One more of those will end us, but we get another lucky break as our next headbutt evens the battle, taking Magnemite to red health and causing a flinch, giving us the instant strike to close this battle in our favor. We were cutting really close there with that win, and I have a feeling Morty is going to be just as much of a pain. I mean, this battle is basically fighting our rival's Haunter times 4. A lot of variables can go against us in this battle. Well, it wasn't a first try victory, but succeeding took way fewer attempts here than it did with our rival. I was expecting us to almost one-shot Ghastly with Powder Snow, so I was real concerned that we were doomed from the start with it not even bringing him to red health. But Ghastly's critical hit Lick barely hurt us, and it did not paralyze us, so he goes down and now we have the first Haunter to face. Powder Snow is looking even worse now, but we don't really have another choice, so we're sticking with it. And the best part is, Haunter isn't attacking here. Spite and Mimic while we bring it to red health. Before it goes down, it just does a Nightshade, but we are still standing in the green while half of Morty's team is down. But his big gun, Gengar, is now out. Obviously, this is the point Powder Snow is going to look absolutely abysmal. Oh, well, that one was a critical hit. We can't really gauge how this move is doing based off that turn. But hey, we froze Gengar. Don't know how long that will last, but it doesn't really matter. We just keep spamming Powder Snow, and 4 turns later, we remove Morty's ace from the battle. One more Haunter, but we have already beaten one of these. Hypnosis could make things scary, but we dodge it. Honor, however, is not as lucky. Second powder snow we attack with freezes it. We were most likely going to win this battle on the next turn anyway, but I'll take the tacked on status condition to ensure our success. Which means we are once again at the fork in the road, where we either go east or west and follow the storyline from there. You might call me a chicken, but I call myself a realist by heading east to Mahogany Town as our next step in completing this challenge. Because, let's be honest, heading west means Chuck and Jasmine, and sure, Chuck might not be a problem per se, but on paper when it comes to type matchups, we are in for a rough time taking on the fighting and steel gyms back to back. Bryce, being the ice type gym leader, bodes better for us, which means his gym, along with Fighting Team Rocket and random trainers in the Lake of Rage storyline, is a great way to gain experience and better prepare ourselves for the west side of Johto. Team Rocket, of course, doesn't really put up a fight, and the only thing we are struggling with here is running out of power points a couple of times since our moveset is not 100% attacking moves. And I use takedown sparingly because of the recoil damage, so we have to leave and heal up to fix that. But our health never really falls to a dangerous spot where we are close to fainting. Once that part of the storyline is taken care of, for now, we head to Price's gym. We fight the trainers here too, and these battles do make me a little nervous. We don't lose any of them, but a lot of our opponent's Pokemon are taking hits better than I expected, and it is making me feel like we might not hit hard enough to win this gym fight. But things are going alright at the start of this gym battle. Headbutt takes Seal to yellow health, its Icy Wind misses, and another Headbutt takes it out. Dugong is more concerning to me, but Headbutt is still helpful with the flinch. We repeat that move to take Dugong to yellow health, and Price finally gets a hit on us with Aurora Beam. We are still in the green and successful in bringing Dugong down on the next turn, but now we have to face our evolved form, Piloswine. Not to sound like a broken record, but yep, the headbutts keep coming. We get another flinch here, and Piloswine just sets up miss by the time it finally gets a chance to attack. Things are looking great with Headbutt taking Piloswine to red health with a tacked on flinch, but Price uses a Hyper Potion at this point. Sure, it draws out the battle, but we're still spamming Headbutt, and Piloswine is back to where we had it in no time. Price does make this battle interesting, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit scary getting hit by a blizzard. For a second I thought we were going to lose here, but we are still standing and able to get the winning strike to move on. We can't move any further east to Blackthorn at this point in the game, so now we have to face the western swing we've been dreading for a while. We still need to go to Cianwood to get the medicine for the Ampharos at the lighthouse, so we might as well face Chuck while we are in town. Plus, I think we are going to have an easier time beating Chuck than Jasmine at our current level. The trainers at his gym can pack a punch, unintended, but we are holding our own, always coming out on top. Chuck is not the smartest battler, so maybe this fight won't be that bad after all. Real rough start with our opening takedown missing, but Primeape's leer failed, so we are even. Knowing we are faster, I switched to using Headbutt since it is more reliable and not missing. It does deal a lot of damage and causes Primeape to flinch, so we take out Chuck's first Pokemon easily on the following turn. Poliwrath, however, takes a Headbutt better than Primeape and uses Mind Reader on its turn. Might be risky, but I want to take Poliwrath out quickly, so I give Takedown another try. It lands and is dealing more damage than Headbutt just did. We dodge a Hypnosis from there, and thanks to Chuck not using a healing item, we get one more Headbutt in for the win. You know, I don't really know why I was so worried about Chuck. I mean, the only damage we took in that battle was recoil from our own takedown. He has rarely ever been an issue in these challenges, and he really didn't even put up a fight this time. Again, unintended. But Jasmine is often a major brick wall in her challenges. She has basically been featured on every single thumbnail for my Generation 2 challenges, and that's because she is often one of the toughest gym leaders to beat in Johto. This challenge is no exception. We are getting absolutely demolished here. Seriously, we're losing over and over, and I feel like this is the most demoralizing defeat we have faced so far in this video. For starters, I was on autopilot and gave Nugs a processed Cure Berry like I do every time we face Jasmine. Yeah, some of you probably already see how that wasn't the brightest move just looking at this matchup, but not me. It took several losses before it dawned on me why Magnemite never tried to paralyze us with Thunder Wave. In reality, Magnemite is all about confusing us with Supersonic and spamming Sonic Boom in this battle. We knock it out every time, but the Sonic Booms can add up, and bad confusion luck can put us in a terrible spot when Steelix comes out. Even if we're in a good spot when Steelix arrives, it can still be disastrous. One Iron Tail for this guy eliminates most of our health. Add a Sonic Boom and some confusion damage, and Steelix can take us out in one turn with that attack. Now, Iron Tail doesn't have the best accuracy, and we do see it miss from time to time. But the other problem we're dealing with here is that we don't have a good move to take out Steelix quickly. This behemoth is still a defensive juggernaut. Sure, I taught Nugs Icy Wind thanks to the TM Price gave us, but neither that nor Powder Snow is getting the job done. Not that I should really be surprised, they're not the strongest ice moves to begin with. What we really need is some luck to free Steelix, but after several attempts, it just doesn't happen. Right now we only have two options. Keep repeating this fight until we get a freeze or grind. I really don't know what level we should aim at for the win here.
To be honest, I am not in a grinding mood.
So we push on. In this attempt, we probably got the best start in the series by taking Magnemite out with 3 headbutts, the first 2 causing flinches. So we're not confused and we are still at full health. But like I mentioned, Steelix doesn't care. His Steel Tail can still wreck our chances of success even where we currently are in this battle. And that's pretty much what happens after we deal a lackluster Powder Snow. The second Powder Snow deals about the same amount of damage, but this time we get a freeze to stick. Okay, we finally have a chance. Please do not thaw. Icy Wind hits harder, so we switch to spamming that, and the luck keeps coming with the first one landing as a critical hit. Of course, since it does knock Steelix out, Jasmine uses the Hyper Potion immediately after. But the freeze is still in effect, and we keep using Icy Wind. We get Steelix back to red health easily enough, but it defrosts. Luckily, we are faster, and another Icy Wind finally gives us the chance to move past this steel wall. One more Magnemite, and things are still scary since it could end us in one turn if we take confusion damage and a Sonic Boom. One headbutt, a flinch, okay, another headbutt, and a critical hit. We did it. We got past Jasmine. I feel like we almost beat the Elite Four. I know she's always a challenge, but this battle in particular was on a whole other level of difficulty. Steelix's defense always slows us down, but the fact that it's also a threat offensively, I have a feeling this is going to be one of the top 3 hardest battles we do in this whole challenge. We only have one more gym badge to get, but this time we are back to having the type advantage. Yeah, our ice moves are not the greatest, but after this breakthrough against Jasmine and the level lead we built up over the course of this playthrough, I think we're ready for a quick badge wrap up. I completely forgot about the Team Rocket takeover and Radio Tower. No, this is not my first time playing this game. Well, let's knock this out real quick so we can face clear. I think this is a first.
Obviously, Team Rocket isn't putting up a fight, so I'm only talking about our rival here.
But, we cannot beat this guy. Part of the problem is we're back to dealing with the possibility of getting confused early in the battle, this time thanks to Golbat. Of course, none of this would be a problem if one of our super effective ice moves was strong enough to one-shot him. We do get fortunate knocking Golbat out in the next turn though. Oh, I forgot that Blizzard was coming up in our moveset. Excuse the pause, I was thinking about which ice move I wanted to give up so we could have this move. I eventually decided to give up Powder Snow since Blizzard can also cause a freeze and this hits much harder. I wish this move had the accuracy it had in Generation 1. Anyway, back to the battle. Our rival immediately sends out his ace, Feraligatr. We did take our opponent's water gun pretty well, but we also take confusion damage, so we are in yellow health regardless. Another water gun takes us to red health, we snap out confusion, land another not so strong headbutt, and then we go down from one more water gun. And yeah, multiple attempts go like that. I honestly thought the first battle was a fluke, but they all end in a similar way. Now, there were a few times where we actually survived Feraligatr, and Sneasel should be easy to take out, but we are always in red health by the time we face him, so we're an easy chip shot for Feint Attack. Actually, I was wrong. A couple times we got to Magnemite, but again, being in red health and dealing with Sonic Boom means we still lose. I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time ever in these challenges where I need to leave Radio Tower and grind to beat our rival. I ultimately decided that the best place for us to grind was in the ocean south of Olivine. And it's still kind of a slow and long process, but it beats pretty much every other route we have at our disposal for grinding. There are not a lot of high-level wild Pokemon to battle over and over at this point in the game. I decided to get Nubs to level 50 before revisiting our battle. One quick takeaway from grinding here is that now, In our rematch, we'll have Blizzard in the moveset right at the beginning of the battle. Outside of that, I'm just a little depressed with these stats. I'm not so much as disappointed when it comes to our attack stat. You're looking solid and doing your best. And it's not like 77 defense is terrible, but the special stats, I can't believe they're just 5 points higher than the level we are currently at. And it's a real shame too, because Ice is a great type, and it would be amazing if we could really capitalize on it. On top of that, we're weak to a lot of special type attacks, so our special defense really makes us a glass cannon in these fights. I mean, our rival basically has our number because of Water Gun. Not Surf, not Hydro Pump, just Water Gun. But now we have some extra levels and the best ice move in the game. Let's see how things look now. You know, I said that it would be nice if we had an ice move that could easily one-shot Golbat so we wouldn't risk getting confused. Yeah, Blizzard fills that role easily. Full health, not confused, Basin for Alligator. Still using Headbutt. Still not getting a flinch. Still getting hit by water. Getting hit by Rage. That's really random. Why would he choose that move? It's barely gonna hurt us. Stick with our same move on the next turn, and clearly we're pulling ahead in damage output. Yeah, for Alligator goes down on the following turn. That was a really weird exchange, like our rival didn't even try. Anyway, Sneasel. It might be a little reckless, but we have some health to spare, so I go and take down for an easy one-shot. Headbutt takes back back to half health when it comes out, and we take a Sonic Boom. I'm not sure that second headbutt needed to be a critical hit, but another one of our rivals' Pokemon is down, which just is not. I played safe by using Icy Wind. I know Blizzard would one-shot it, but I was worried it might miss. Icy Wind by itself doesn't do a lot of damage. With our rival stick, it's a weird trend that looks like we stick with Icy Wind to seal the win. Okay, can we please move on with the storyline where we get to face Claire? I may have had my doubts earlier, but I'm feeling more confident thanks to all the grinding we just did and the fact we now have Blizzard, and while on the icy path, heading towards Blackthorn, I picked up the item Never Melt Ice. This is a held item that gives ice type attacks a little extra firepower. Kinda contradictory, but we'll take it. Anyway, with the new item and everything else just mentioned, I think we're going to have a real easy wrap up to this badge quest. Yeah, Kingdra can be a little scary since it's part water, but we also have non-ice moves that hit hard, and I think they'll help us get by. Claire, like always, starts the battle with one of her Dragonairs. Oh, that's another great thing about using Swinub in this challenge. We're part ground, I don't have to worry about Thunder Waves in this battle. Great, we're faster than Dragonair, Blizzard doesn't miss, obvious one-shot. And then we're forced to face Kingdra soon after. Headbutt doesn't do much damage, and no flinch. I was dreading Surf, and holy crap was I right too. That one move immediately brings us down to red health. Okay, I got a little cocky thinking this was going to be an easy victory. Ice moves don't really help us here. A takedown is out of the question since I think the recoil damage would immediately knock us out. So I guess we have no choice but to headbutt. And I can't even begin to tell you how thankful I am to see Kingdra flinch there. I was really expecting Claire to heal up here, but nope. Instead, our following headbutt takes the biggest threat out of the battle. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. Claire still has two Dragonairs, and yeah, Blizzard will obviously one-shot them, but the move can also easily miss. And if it does, we're a sitting duck for an easy knockout. Second Dragonair is now out, and Blizzard lands. Okay, great. One more to go. Here goes nothing. This challenge is definitely not good for my heart with all the luck and close calls we've had. I do kind of deserve it though, considering I centered Nub's moveset around these moves that have a small chance of affecting the battle. And that's all because we've needed every little bit of help we can get in this challenge. We're looking good offensively, but defensively we've never been able to take a lot of hits, especially when it comes to special attacks. We didn't really have a choice but to hope and pray that we'd get a flinch here or freeze there if we wanted to win these battles. And when it comes to the Elite Four, it's going to be no different. I feel like this whole series is going to be somewhat difficult. I don't think each member is going to be extremely hard, but I also don't think any of these battles are going to be a cakewalk. That said, we do have advantages here and there in each battle that I think will make things more manageable. The three Pokemon I am dreading the most as we make our way to Victor Road are Houndoom, Gyarados, and Charizard. Most of you are waiting to see how the last rival battle of the challenge goes, but before getting into that, I take a slight detour to get to TM for Earthquake. Yep, we are almost face to face with Elite Four, and I'm just now teaching Nubs a ground move. I mean, he could have learned a Mud Slap near the beginning of the challenge, but I always teach my Pokemon Mud Slap, and I wanted to break the cycle. And, well, let's just get going on this rival battle. Sneasel is out first for a rival this time, and we immediately break out our brand new move. Earthquake makes an easy one-shot, and we're now moving on to Feraligatr. Headbutt takes out about a third of Feraligatr's health, and Water Gun takes out about a quarter of ours. I switch back to Earthquake, and we see much better results. Feraligatr easily goes down. Kadabra is sent out next, but this guy can't even withstand a single headbutt, so now we're focusing on Golbat. I was curious to see if Icy Wind was strong enough this time for one shot. It's not, which means we get confused from Confuse Ray. We hurt ourselves on the next turn and take a wing attack. We're near low health, but we're fortunate to land another Icy Wind on Golbat. It faints, and now we have to focus on Magneton. Still confused, but that doesn't stop us from using Earthquake to easily one-shot Magneton. Just like last time, Haunter is last out, and just like Magneton, he's susceptible to ground moves. So our new move gives us the opportunity for our first try victory against our rival in this challenge. Yeah, that's a little embarrassing, but hey, we are at the Elite Four, so we haven't been doing that bad. That being said, I'm not jumping into the Elite Four right away. I decided to grind a Victory Road until we get Nubs to level 60 before tackling these battles. Okay, so that's just 3 more levels, and that might not have bumped our stats up that much, but I'd like to think it still helps. I mean, we only have one stat in the triple digits, our attack stat, but our defense and speed stats are close to reaching that mark. Our special stats are decent, but I feel like they're going to be our biggest liability in these battles. I'm going to be honest, I don't think we're going to beat the whole Elite Four at this point, but I'm willing to give it a try and see how things really look, so let's get into this. Okay, well, I lost the Will on the first attempt pretty easily, but that was because I misjudged how much damage Icy Wind would do to his first Xatu. Really close to knockout, but that still means he gets a chance to attack. And with our not so great special defense, Psychic takes a sizable chunk out. We're still in the green and able to one-shot Jinx, but I then make a major dumb decision by using Earthquake on Exeggutor. Yeah, I know, I should have used Blizzard. I paid the price. Nubs faints right away from a critical hit Psychic that I'm pretty sure didn't even need to be a critical hit. Let's try this again. And yes, we start off this Elite Four attempt by learning from our mistakes. Blizzard on the first Xatu right at the start. Obviously, it causes a one-shot, so we're already seeing improvements. Jinx still can't handle Earthquake, so we're now back to Exeggutor. Again, we're showing signs of improvement by using Blizzard. Though, of course, this move still carries the risk of missing. We take a Psychic, but it isn't a critical hit, so we're at half health. Another attempt at Blizzard seals the deal with a clean one-shot. Slowbro could be scary, so I go for Earthquake. It deals a lot of damage, but we still have to be cautious. Slowbro just uses Amnesia, which does nothing to slow down our next Earthquake. Down he goes, and now we just need to focus on the second Xatu. This guy is only a little bit stronger than the first one, which means Blizzard has no trouble bringing down the first Elite Four member. Next up is Koga, one of the members I am least worried about since Earthquake should make quick work of most of his team. Case in point, it one-shots Ariados, Venomoth is next, and like some people who make videos of these games, I forgot this guy's typing, and I assumed he was poison and flying, hence the Icy Wind. It lands as a critical hit and delivers a speed drop, but it isn't super effective, so Earthquake would have been the better move here. Don't worry though, we knock out Venomoth on next turn. The downside is that we get poisoned by Toxic in the process, so maybe we should worry a little. Fortress has been a problem in other challenges, but he's more of a nuisance here. Mainly because he uses Protect a couple times in this exchange, which prevents us from taking him out quickly and lets poison damage build. When Earthquake finally lands, it does great work almost bringing him down. Look, this guy is a defensive tank, so I'm not surprised he's not a one-shot. He would be if we had a fire move, but we don't. Earthquake is the next best thing. Fortress eventually goes down, and he didn't hurt us directly. He just made things scary by letting Toxic build up. Good news, Muck is next, and Earthquake one-shots him. Crobat is all Koga has left, and it makes things a little trickier with Double Team, but we get lucky. Blizzard connects, giving us a solid win. Now we move on to Bruno. Like Chuck, his type matchup could be concerning, but also like Chuck, he isn't exactly a tactical genius, so I think we'll be okay. Hitmontop is out first. Basically, we're going to spam Earthquake. That's the only real strategy here. Earthquake comes close to a one-shot, but Bruno thinks he's being clever and using Dig. Dude, this isn't Generation 1 anymore. Earthquake still hits and does actually even more damage when a Pokemon is underground. Honestly, this might be the one time I wish we were slower than our opponent. Hitmontop would set up Dig first, letting us one-shot him and save one more power point for Earthquake. Hey, I only have 10 power points for this move, we need to be careful on how we use it. Moving on, Hitmonlee, one-shot with Earthquake. Hitmonchan, one-shot. Machamp, not a one-shot, but his cross-chop misses, which means we take him down soon after. Onix, one-shot with Icy Wind to save on power points. Full disclaimer, I do have some ethers, max ethers, etc. that I found while traversing Johto. Half the challenge of the Elite Four is figuring out how to heal up our power points between battles. Karen is a good example of this since we need all of our attacks to win. We have a type advantage against almost everyone in this party except for her lead, Umbreon. That said, we are not in trouble. Earthquake still does the work. I'm not thrilled about the sand attack we just took, but we moved past Umbreon. I probably shouldn't have relied on Headbutt since it took 2 hits for the knockout, and we took a feint attack in the process. Now we shift focus to Vileplume.
Sand attack hits us again, causing Icy Wind to miss, but that isn't the only problem.
Even if the move landed, it would not be enough for one shot, and Vileplume would paralyze us with Stun Spore anyway. Now with Vileplume faster than us, Petal Dance can easily take us down. And as you can probably guess, this battle takes a few more attempts. On the second try, we land Icy Wind on Vileplume, still not enough for one shot. We get paralyzed, but manage to take Vileplume down after surviving another Petal Dance. But then Karen sends out her big dog, literally, Houndoom. We don't stand a chance. We're beaten up, we're slower, we're weak to fire moves, so Flamethrower quickly spells our end. Let's go again.
Umbreon falls to about half health from a headbutt. No flinch, but his sand attack failed, so I'll take it.
We switch to Earthquake, which removes Karen's first Pokemon from the battle. The dreaded Vileplume is next, but this time we successfully land Blizzard, so it's not a nuisance in this attempt. That means we're faster than Houndoom, and this thing is in serious trouble since it's weak to ground moves. Earthquake takes it out, and we move on to the rest of her team. Not much else to say here. Murkrow can't handle Icy Wind, and Gengar is no match for Earthquake, so once we figured out Vileplume, this matchup was over pretty quickly. Lance is kind of a similar situation. As most of you know, he's really the flying type Elite Four member, and Ice is the obvious solution here, but Gyarados and more importantly Charizard are still potential roadblocks. That or Blizzard missing, which of course is always a concern. And yep, I was right to worry about these two Pokemon. Gyarados is excellent at stalling in this battle. Part of the problem is that I'm not entirely sure which offensive route to take. Blizzard is neutral damage here, and at best it brings Gyarados down to half health. Headbutt is weaker, but it has that small chance to flinch. Meanwhile, Gyarados usually opens with Rain Dance followed by Surf, which almost one-shots us every time. Usually we manage to take Gyarados out before it can finish us off, which brings us face-to-face with Charizard. We're faster, thankfully, and I tried relying on Headbutt, but the damage output is not ideal, and no flinches is even more of a problem. Obviously, we can't survive a Flamethrower in the state, so we go down. I gave this battle multiple tries at this level, and each time we can't beat Charizard to advance. With the same results each attempt, and the fact that we're relying on insane flinch luck with Headbutt, it's not a feasible strategy. We decide to level Nubs up 5 more times, up to level 67, and we give this battle with Lance another try. I restart the game, so we're standing right before the entrance Elite Four with our PowerPoint replenishing items ready before starting the grind. Revisiting Lance at level 68, since we also gained a level battling the rest of Elite Four, and we're still losing. But there are signs of improvement. We can take Gyarados out without taking any damage, and really our problems all center around Charizard. But there's a discovery in this attempt. Headbutt is now much stronger, and one hit removes half of Charizard's health. Of course, as soon as we make this discovery, Charizard burns us with Flamethrower, which diminishes our attack stat for the rest of the battle, and we lose shortly after. But I still feel like we have a chance to win. On the next attempt, we continue our growing trend of taking out Gyarados without damage thanks to a combination of Headbutt and Blizzard. does set up a rain dance, but that actually helps us by weakening Charizard's flamethrower. Speaking of Charizard, it's out and we're headbutting away. The first one hits for half health like expected. The next one falls just short of a knockout, but an extreme clutch flinch brings this threat down. We haven't seen the rest of Lance's team yet, so the game plan is to pray Blizzard doesn't miss. By this point, Lance is a little desperate and sends out his strongest Dragonite next. Blizzard not only hits, but lands as a critical hit, guaranteeing a one-shot. We even level up from this feint. Nice. The second, weaker Dragonite is out, and it also can't withstand a Blizzard. Now, Aerodactyl. I was a little more worried here. I had a sinking feeling it could survive a Blizzard. It's faster than us, which leads to taking a Rock Slide, but once we hit it with Blizzard, I find out that it's no match for our Ice move. That's a huge relief since we only have one more Blizzard left. Lance only has one Pokemon remaining.
Please don't miss.
Oh good, hit it Lance. We got this. Another clear one shot, and finally, we beat the champion and the Elite Four. We might have suffered some defeats here, but this part of the run actually went better than I was expecting. We were able to correct and overcome our roadblocks faster than I thought we would. Well, we still have the Kanto portion of the game to address, which means 8 more gym badges to get. None of these are particularly noteworthy except for the last one against Blue. After that, we have the final battle of the game, which will easily be the toughest for us in this challenge, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about Blue first. Pidgeot is an easy one-shot with Blizzard. Blizzard is still a strong move for Gyarados, but unsurprisingly, it's not a one-shot. Gyarados starts with Rain Dance, and since I noticed Blizzard fell just a little short of bringing Gyarados down to half health, I decided to rely on Headbutt in hopes of a flinch. That doesn't happen. From there we get hit by the strongest water move in the game, boosted by Rain Dance, leading to an inevitable one-shot feint. Okay, rough start, but we can get past this. This time we miss our first Blizzard against Pidgeot, but our opponent copies the move with Mirror Move, giving us a taste of our own medicine. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I switched out Nub's Never Melt Ice held item with leftovers that we got from Snorlax. I know our special attack is still pitiful, but free healing every turn is hard to pass up. Anyway, our second attempt of Blizzard lands and Pidgeot goes down. Gyarados is up next and I stick with Blizzard. I'm so glad I did because it causes a freeze. I thought this would be our lucky break, but Blue has full restore, so Gyarados is back to full health and thawed out. With the healing item and Rain Dance as his opening move, we managed to land 2 headbutts bringing Gyarados to yellow health. I thought we were set to finish it off, but Blue is clearly relying on this Gyarados, burning through another full restore. Another 2 headbutts gets us back to where we were, this time aided by a flinch. Finally, we land the finishing headbutt and put away this annoying obstacle. Alakazam is next, and its sidekick can be scary, but we stay in the green. Earthquake is too much for it to handle. Executor could have been dangerous if Blizzard had missed, but our attack lands on target, giving us another one-shot. Arcanine is another threat, but surprisingly, we're faster, and a second Earthquake keeps our one-shot streak alive. All that is left is Rhydon, and I thought Icy Wind would be strong enough to finish it in one turn, but it falls just a little short. We take an Earthquake from our opponent as a taste of our own medicine, and then one final Icy Wind easily secures the last badge of the game. Except for some trouble with water types, the Kanto badge run went really smoothly. We did level up a bit from all these battles, but I don't think it will be enough to beat Red. Part of me feels like we should grind more in preparation for the final battle, but I also want to be honest with myself, and with you, the viewer, so I decided to face Red at this level that we are currently at. Let's give this a go. Okay, Pikachu is faster than us. That's not surprising considering its level, and that speed is one of its best stats. Pikachu's Charm could put us in a really bad spot since our physical attack stat is what we rely on, but Quick Attack is manageable and Earthquake is the obvious choice to take down our first opponent. From here, Red immediately turns up the heat by bringing out Charizard instead of Espeon like we expected. Oh, okay, yep, one shot by Flamethrower. Time to assess the situation. I did give this a couple more attempts to confirm how screwed we really were, and it is now well confirmed. Charizard is faster, and we are never going to survive a Flamethrower in this state, even at full health. The solution is simple. In theory, we need to be faster than Charizard to have a chance in this exchange. That's only part of the battle though. We also need to rely on Headbutt, hoping for an amazing flinch to prevent Charizard from even attacking. I wish he wasn't part flying because Earthquake would easily deal a one-shot. We can't freeze him with Blizzard since fire types are immune to that status condition. Charizard doesn't resist Blizzard, is neutral damage since he's part flying, but the move still won't bring him down in one turn. Icy Wind could lower his speed, but that means we're definitely going to get hit by Flamethrower, which means instant defeat. So, like I said, we have to raise Nubs to a level where we can outspeed Charizard and go from there. Revisiting the battle at level 80, still slower. Level 90, slower. Level 95, still slower. Geez, do we really need to be at level 100 to beat this challenge? What if we get to level 100 and we're still slower than Charizard? Is this challenge over as we know it? I mean, I guess we could go the route of giving this challenge an asterisk by evolving Nubs into Piloswine and see if it's possible in his evolved form, like I did with another one of the Pokemon I've done in these challenges. No, let's not accept defeat yet. Let's see how fast we are at level 100 and go from there. Okay, drumroll please. We are faster than Charizard at level 100. Yay! More good news, we're also within a damage range where Flamethrower won't one-shot us. More yay! We might be down to the low 20s or worse, but we're still alive to act again. That's not much, but it gives us enough momentum to feel like a win is actually possible, though the odds are still stacked against us. And I say that because I gave this battle many tries. Most of the time we hit first with Headbutt, but it doesn't cause it flinch. Charizard hits us with Flamethrower and we go down one hit. If we survive, we throw a Hail Mary with Blizzard. If it hits, it usually does, but not always, knocks out Charizard. But also has a chance to miss, and from there we obviously go down from another Flamethrower. Now, in the alternate universe where we actually bring Charizard down, Red sends out Blastoise. From here, we are back to square one. His Surf is just as threatening as Flamethrower, and we need to rely on a flinch from Headbutt because none of our other moves can deal a one-shot. Blastoise is hard to reach and even harder to bring down. We were caught in this endless loop, Charizard taking us out over and over, but I kept at it. We knew Pikachu was never a problem. Sure, it swipes at us with Quick Attack, but we were still well in the green when we landed our nth Earthquake to knock it out. Charizard, I have come to bargain. Headbutt, like always, and this time, we actually get the flinch. And Blizzard doesn't miss. Okay. We've rarely had this good a start. Normally by the time Blastoise comes around, we are in red health. Okay, calm down, breathe. We have a battle to win. Headbutt failed to flinch, but we survived Surf with 62 health. Okay. Please seal the deal, Earthquake. Yes, okay. Blastoise is finally down. We are beaten up, but we might still be able to pull this off. Wasn't sure how well Espeon would take Earthquake, and it turns out we're strong enough to deal the one-shot. Nice.
But now we have to focus on Snorlax, and this is scary too.
It's always hard to bring this guy down. Still sticking with Earthquake. Okay, more than half of Snorlax's health is gone, which honestly surprises me. And since Snorlax decides to start this exchange with Amnesia, we're able to get another Earthquake and bring this behemoth down in 2 turns. I think that was the first time in all these challenges we took Snorlax out in 2 turns on the first attempt. All Red has left now is Venusaur, which, yes, has a type advantage against us. We've gotten back to green health thanks to leftovers, but Solar Beam could still end us. I've learned my lesson earlier in this challenge. Poison might be weak to ground moves, but grass typing will still reduce our damage. Blizzard is the way to go. If it didn't miss, Venusaur sets up a Solar Beam. This is it. If we hit, we win. If we miss, Venusaur joins the other starters in taking us down. And Blizzard lands. We get the one shot. Let's go. Oh, that was a sweet victory. After all of those attempts, all those times we had to rely on luck to advance, we finally got the win and beat the challenge. Honestly, that feels fitting. This challenge threw a lot of obstacles our way, and sometimes the only way to get through was thanks to random flinching or freezing. I could have chosen moves that didn't rely on chance here, but honestly, I don't think we would have been able to beat the challenge without leaning on luck like we did. I've always liked Swinub even when I was younger, and I still technically do. But geez, his typing is deceiving. Ground Ice sounds solid, immunity to electric attacks, and a threat to dragon types, but those weaknesses really expose Swinub as a bit of a glass cannon, and the Generation 2 moveset definitely doesn't make things easier. Still, in a regular playthrough, I would have evolved Nubs way before the credits rolled, and outside this challenge, he's a solid addition to a well-planned team. hope you guys enjoyed this video. This challenge was definitely one of the more difficult ones, but it was also incredibly rewarding. For my next challenge, I'm heading back to Pokemon Sapphire. This time, we're only bringing Swablu along.
I haven't started it yet, but it should be more interesting than your usual normal flying solo challenge.
For now, I'm going to take a little break after recording this, head downtown, and enjoy another good old-fashioned Reds opening day. Here's hoping we start the season strong and crush the Red Sox. Reds opening day is always a fun time downtown. In the meantime, feel free to check out some of my other challenges. Don't forget to like and subscribe for updates, and leave comments about what you enjoyed, what challenges you'd like to see in the future, and any suggestions for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, Geronimo.